Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to create animated login form using HTML and CSS, and it will be exact the same form using some basic animations in the form. So if you haven't subscribed with our channel, go and please subscribe our channel for more interesting and delightful videos. So now let's get started on how to create this login form using HTML and CSS. Now the first thing is that you have to make sure that you have created an HTML file, and then you should also have some of these pictures, like you should have a background image and some other images like social medias like Google, for an image for your username and for your password. You can easily download this all from internet and Google Images. There's no problem at all. Now let's go and design it with HTML. So the first thing that we need to do is that we need to create our HTML structure. So for this login form, the first thing we need to do is that we have to create a header. So here we go, I'm going to add a header, and inside this header I'm going to add h1, and this h1 I'm going to write animated login form. So this is basically my title. If you like to add any other title, you can do it, there's no problem at all. So for the h2 I'm writing with HTML and CSS. So this is done. The next thing which we need to do is that we need to add a div, and you can name it as main. Now main is a name or a class for this div. You can add any other. Now this is basically a name that I love to use for my first divs. Now inside this div we need to create an image. So here we go, using image tag I'm just going to add an image here. Now the address for this is image slash one dot slash logo dot png. Now this is my logo, and I'm just going to save this, and I just want to check the result for this. So now as you can see I have two text and one logo. Now the next thing which I need to do is that I have to create a form. So here we go, inside this form I want to create another div, and inside this div I want to add an image. Now this image is going to be for username, so image slash user, user dot png. Here we go. And the next thing is that we need to add an input. Now for this we need to add placeholder. Now the placeholder for this is going to be username, and we just need to copy this div and paste it one more time. Now the image is going to be changed to password, and the text type I'm going to change it to password. And the same thing, placeholder, I'm going to change it to password. Save this, go back to your browser, just reload your page. As you can see now we have the images and the text boxes on the page. Now outside this div I'm going to add another input, and I'm going to have it as submit, and I'm going to add a value for this. Now the value for this is going to be login. Save this, go back to browser, refresh, and here it is. And the next thing which I need to do is that I need to add a paragraph. Inside this paragraph I need to add an anchor element, and then I need to add a text for this, forgot password. So save this. And the last thing which we need to do is that we need to have another div, or you can just create a section here. Now section is basically a type of div or container where you can have too many objects inside this. Now inside this I'm going to add my images, the images for my social media. Now the first one is Facebook. Sorry, I think it's PNG. Now just copy this and just paste it 3 more times. Now the second one is going to be Instagram, the third one is going to be Twitter, and the fourth one is going to be YouTube. Now these are my file names that I have them in my image folder: YouTube, user, Twitter, whatever else I just used in the index.html file. Now save them and just reload your page. As you can see, now I have them in my page. So we have successfully added our HTML elements. Now we need to do our design with CSS. So here we go. Inside head, I'm going to add style, which means that I'm going to add internal CSS for this project. And the first thing inside style is that you have to select all your elements and you have to reset their padding to 0 and their margin to 0. This is a basic technique which removes the padding and margins which is added by the elements itself. Now the next thing is that you have to select your body element, and for the body I'm going to change my background image. Now the background image I'm going to use it 1.jpg. Here we go. So you can see now I have my background image on this page. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we have to select our header, and for the header we need to add some padding. Now I'm going to add 40 pixels, refresh this. So as you can see now there is some padding from top, bottom, left and right side. The next thing I'm going to add text align, which means that I want to center all my elements. I want to add color white. I want to add font size, which means that I want a bigger size of font. Now I'm going to change it to 2em. 2em means 200%, and I'm going to add a text shadow for this. Now the text shadow from 2 angles is going to be 2 pixels, and then I'm going to add a color which is basically black. Refresh this, and now as you can see we have successfully added these styles to these elements. And I'm going to add a font family. Now the font family depends on what kind of font you want. So I want to use Agency FB, which is much designful and good font. So we have done this, and the next thing which we need to do is that we have to select our header and H2. So here we go. We are going to select our header, and then inside this we are going to select our H2. Now for this I'm going to add a color. Now the color for this is going to be hexadecimal code 00FFC3, which will give you a color like this, just like this. So the next thing now is that we are going to select our form. div.main. Now for the div.main we are going to add text align center, which means that I want to display all these objects to the center side. Okay, so there is a problem with my spelling here. Now it's going to work, yeah. And the next thing is that I'm just going to add a position of relative, and from bottom side then later on I will add some values here. For now it's going to be 0 pixels. Okay. Now the next thing which I want to do is that I want to select my div.main. Inside div.main I'm going to select my direct child, which is image. As you can see, inside my div.main I have a direct child of image. Now for this I'm going to add a width of 200 pixels, and I'm going to add a position of relative, and from the top side I want to move it to 100 pixels. Now this will give me a result like this. Now I'm just going to remove this, or just going to comment this, because later on we will be using this just before making changes to our form. Now we are going to select our form, and we are going to add a width of 600 pixels. We are going to add the margin. Now the margin for this is going to be auto, and we are going to have a background color. Now the background color is going to be RGBA, which means that I want a transparent background. Now we are going to add 3 zeros. Now 3 zeros means we want a black background color. Dot 2, which means that I want 20% transparent. So now as you can see, we have successfully added this transparent background. If you just increase this value, then you can see that the transparency becomes less. If you decrease this, then it will give us a more transparent background. So we have done this, and the next thing which I'm going to do is that I'm going to add border dash radius. Now the border radius is going to be 10 pixels, and the next thing is that I'm going to add text align. For this it's going to be center, and the last thing I'm going to add box dash shadow. Now the box shadow is going to be 2 pixels, 2 pixels, 2 pixels, and I'm going to add an RGBA color. Now I'm going to write 255, 255, 255, which gives us a white color, and I'm going to add dot 9, which is 90% transparent. As you can see, now I have successfully added this to this. And the next thing which I want to do is, now I want to add a padding for this. Now here we go. Now my padding will have 3 values. The first one is 100 pixels, which means I want 100 pixel padding from the top side, and I want 40 pixels for the left and right and bottom. So save this, go back and just refresh your page. Okay, just add a px here as well, then it's going to work. 100 pixel from the top side, 20 pixel from bottom, right and left. So we are done with this. And now the next thing which we need to change is that we need to change our form. Inside this we have div, and inside it we have image. Now for this image we are going to add a width of at least 10%, and we are going to add position for them. It's going to be relative. Now let's see how much position we would need for these. Okay, I'm just now going to add at least about 25 pixels. Later on I'm just going to increase my text boxes size as well, and from the left I'm going to add 20 pixels. Now I'm just going to select the form, and inside form we have input, and the input has types. So this is now a common type of selector where you can select elements based on their types. Now the first one which we have is text. Now for the text I'm going to add these properties. I'm going to add a width of 80%, and I'm going to add a padding of 3%. So now let's see the result for this. As you can see, now we have a design like this. And the next thing which I want to do is that I'm going to add a margin dash bottom. Now from the bottom side I would like to add 10 pixel of margin, and I want a background color for this as well. So the background color is going to be white, and I'm going to add border. So the first time I'm going to select the border none, and then I'm going to add 1 pixel solid, and I'm just going to use this color, which is very similar to gray, but it's not gray, just like this. And the next thing which I want to do is that I'm going to add border dash radius. Now the border radius is going to be 10 pixels, and then I'm just going to give an outline of none, which means that there shouldn't be any outline when I just click on this. Just refresh this, as you can see now there is no outline at all. Now we have successfully implemented this to the text. Now you can select your form, your input, and type is equal to. Now the next input which we have is about password. Now as you can see we have this for the both of them. Now the next thing which I want is that I want this image to be displayed here. Now you can just remove this comment. So now as you can see this will be moved to the bottom, and we also have to give a value of 100 pixel here because I want them to be displayed on the top side. So we have done this now. The next thing now we have to do is that we have to select our this button. Now to select this we need to write forum input type message is equal to submit. Now for the submit we are going to add these styles. The first thing is that we are going to give it a width. So I'm going to give it a width of 30%. I'm going to add a padding of 15 pixels from top and bottom and 30 pixels from left and right, just like this. And the next thing I want is that I want to add a margin from the top, and it's going to be 20 pixels, just like this. And the same thing I want for the bottom, margin dash bottom 20 pixels. There we go. And then I want to add a background color. Now the background color is going to be this one because we have used this previously. And the color I want for this is black, and I don't want any border, so you can remove this border none. So as you can see now, and I want bold text for this, so you can write font dash weight bold. Here we go. Now the next thing I would like to add to this is that I want to add cursor. Now the value for this is going to be pointer, which means that when I just hover on this, show it as a link. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a forum input type is equal to submit. And I'm going to add the hover visitor class. Now inside hover I would like to change its background color. Now the background color which I want to change is it's going to be black, and the color is going to be white, just like this. Okay, background color black, input type is equal input type. Okay, I'm just going to add this here, input type. Yeah, there's no space needed. You can remove this. So now it's going to work. And the next thing which I want to add is a transition. Now the transition I'm going to add background color, and it's going to have 0.5 seconds. Now this transition will allow this to create a small animation here. And the same thing, now I would like to add for this username and password. Now for these two, you have to go to the top side and you have to go to the div.main. So here we are, div.main. Now for the div.main, now you can write form, and then you can write div, and then you can write hover image. It means that whenever I just come to the div and hover, then the changes has to be applied to the image. Now for the image, we are going to add these properties. The first one is that it should have length of 560 pixels, and then you're going to add a transition of position, and the duration is going to be 0.8 seconds. Now just refresh this and go back. As you can see now, it will have a transition on each input, and this is how it looks, very beautiful. And the next thing which we are going to do is that we are going to select our anchor element. So inside form we have A, and this A is going to be changed to the color white. So here it is. And the last thing which we need to do is that we have to select our section. Now we are going to add a width of 70%, and we are going to add margin of auto, and the text align is also going to be center. Just refresh, and the next thing we are going to add is that we are going to add section, and inside section we are going to select our images, and for each image we are going to add a width. Now the width for them are going to be 60 pixels, and we are also going to add some margin from the right side. So margin dash right is equal to 10 pixels. So here it is, dear friends. As you can see, we have successfully designed our login page using HTML and CSS. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting and delightful videos. Thank you so much.